And new intent, a proposed tiny house village in West Jackson will not be getting Jackson dollars to move forward. The Jackson City Council has rescinded $2.9 million in funding it awarded to the Jackson Resource Center to build the village on Capers Avenue. Now, the vote comes more than 2 years after the council approved providing the funding, which came to the city through the American Rescue Plan Act's Home Investment Partnerships Program. Council Vice President Vernon Hartley says the money will be redirected into other things, such as the prevention of homelessness. Hartley says we're going to take that money and use it in rental registration that will prevent folks from becoming homeless in the first place. Now, the measure was approved on a unanimous vote with no discussion.